Welcome to our journey through the incredible history of the Roman Empire. Imagine a small village growing into a superpower that stretched from rainy Britain to sunny Egypt, shaping laws, languages, and cultures we still recognize today. That's Rome's story, and it's packed with legendary heroes, epic battles, and big changes. In this video, we'll explore how Rome started as a tiny city, became a republic ruled by its people, and then transformed into a mighty empire under famous leaders like Julius Caesar and Augustus. We'll see how Christianity rose, how the empire faced tough times, and why it eventually fell apart, at least in the West. It's a wild ride through centuries of history, and I'll keep it simple and fun so everyone can follow along. So, let's dive in and discover the rise and fall of the Roman Empire. Every great story has a beginning, and Rome starts with a legend. Picture this. It's 753 BC, and two baby brothers, Romulus and Remus, are abandoned near the Tiber River in Italy. A she-wolf finds them and raises them as her own. As they grow up, the brothers decide to build a city. But they argue over who's in charge, and Romulus ends up killing Remus. Harsh, right? Romulus becomes the first king and names the city Rome after himself. For the next 250 years, Rome is ruled by 7 kings. These guys weren't just sitting around, they built the foundations of the city. The first king, Romulus, organized the army and started Rome's growth. Another king, Numa Pompilius, brought in laws and religion to keep things peaceful. Ancus Marcius built the first bridge over the Tiber River, connecting Rome to more trade and people. But not all the kings were great. The last one, Tarquin the Proud, was a real tyrant. He ruled with an iron fist, taxing people heavily and treating them badly. By 509 BC, the Romans had had enough. They kicked Tarquin out in a big revolt and said, "No more kings." This wasn't just the end of the kingdom, it was the start of something new, the Roman Republic. The people wanted to run things themselves, and that's exactly what they set out to do. So Rome ditches the kings and starts a republic. Instead of one ruler, they pick 2 leaders called consuls, elected every year, like co-presidents. These consuls work with the Senate, a group of wise, wealthy men who make big decisions about money and wars. It's a system to make sure no one gets too powerful, but there's a catch. At first, only the rich folks, called patricians, get to be in charge. The regular people, the plebeians, aren't happy about that. They're farmers, workers, and soldiers, and they want a say too. Around 494 BC, the plebeians go on strike. They refuse to fight in the army until things change. It works. They get their own officials, called tribunes, who can say no to bad laws. Later, they even get the 12 tables, Rome's first written laws, carved on stone so everyone knows the rules. While Rome sorts out its government, it starts looking beyond Italy. Enter the Punic Wars, 3 big fights with Carthage, a powerful city in North Africa. The First Punic War, from 264 to 241 BC, is all about who controls Sicily. Rome's not a sea power yet, but they build ships fast and beat Carthage, taking the island. The Second Punic War, from 218 to 201 BC, is wild. Carthage's general, Hannibal, pulls off a crazy move. He marches his army, including elephants, over the snowy Alps into Italy. He wins big battles, like at Cannae, but Rome doesn't give up. A smart Roman general, Scipio, attacks Carthage itself. Hannibal rushes back home, loses at Zama, and Rome wins again. The Third Punic War, from 149 to 146 BC, is the final blow. Rome wipes Carthage off the map, burning the city and selling its people into slavery. Now Rome rules the Mediterranean. With Carthage gone, Rome keeps growing. They take over Greece, over Spain, and parts of the Middle East. But all this success brings problems. Tons of slaves from conquered lands flood into Rome, and small farmers can't compete with big estates run by slaves. Many lose their farms and move to the city, making the gap between rich and poor bigger. 2 brothers, Tiberius and Gaius Gracchus, try to fix this in the 130s and 120s BC. They want to give land back to the poor, but the Senate hates the idea. Both brothers end up murdered, showing how tense things are getting. Then comes Julius Caesar. He's a rock star general who conquers Gaul, modern France, between 58 and 50 BC. His soldiers love him, and the people cheer his victories. But the Senate's nervous, he's too popular. In 49 BC, they tell him to ditch his army and come home. Caesar says no and crosses the Rubicon River with his troops. Bam! Civil war starts. Caesar wins, takes over Rome, and becomes dictator for life. He fixes debts, gives land to the poor, and even makes a new calendar, the one we still use. But some senators think he's too powerful. On March 15th, 44 BC, the Ides of March, they stab him to death in the Senate. Big mistake. Instead of saving the Republic, it sparks more chaos. Caesar's adopted son, Octavian, teams up with Mark Antony and another guy, Lepidus, to hunt down the killers. They win, but then Octavian and Antony turn on each other. Antony hooks up with Cleopatra, Egypt's queen. And in 31 BC, they fight Octavian at the Battle of Actium. Octavian's navy crushes them. Antony and Cleopatra kill themselves, and Octavian's the last man standing. In 27 BC, the Senate calls him Augustus, the revered one, and the Republic becomes an empire. Augustus is the first Roman emperor, and he's a game changer. Starting in 27 BC, he pretends the Republic's still a thing, keeps the Senate around, but really, he's the boss. His reign kicks off the Pax Romana, or Roman peace, a 200-year stretch where things are pretty calm and Rome's thriving. Augustus rebuilds the army, sets up a police force, and starts huge projects like roads and temples. Ever heard of the Pantheon? That's his era. He rules until 14 AD, leaving Rome stronger than ever. Next up are a mixed bag of emperors. Tiberius, his stepson, is solid but gloomy. Then Caligula goes nuts. Think wild parties and naming his horse a senator. Nero's even worse. He's blamed for a huge fire in 64 AD that burns Rome, though he probably didn't play the fiddle during it. Things get better with Vespasian in 69 AD. After a messy civil war, he stabilizes Rome and starts the Colosseum. Yep, the gladiator arena. His sons keep it going. The empire hits its peak with the 5 good emperors, from 96 to 108 AD. Nerva was chill, Trajan conquers new lands like Dacia, modern Romania, and Hadrian builds a giant wall in Britain to keep out invaders. Antoninus Pius keeps the peace, and Marcus Aurelius, the last one, fights wars but also writes deep philosophy books. Under these guys, Rome stretches from the Atlantic to the Middle East. Meanwhile, something huge is brewing: Christianity. It starts small but grows fast. Early on, emperors like Nero persecute Christians, blaming them for stuff like the fire. But by the 200s, it's spreading everywhere. Then comes the crisis of the 3rd century, around 235 to 284 AD. Rome's a mess. Emperors get killed left and right, barbarians attack, and money's losing value. The empire almost falls apart. Diocletian steps in 284 AD and saves the day. He splits the empire into 4 parts, each with its own ruler called the Tetrarchy. It's like a team effort to manage this giant place. He fixes the economy and army too. But when Diocletian retires, the plan falls apart. A new guy, Constantine, fights his way to the top. In 312 AD, he has a vision of a cross and wins a battle, converting to Christianity. In 313, his Edict of Milan makes it legal to be Christian. No more hiding. Constantine does something else big in 330 AD. He moves the capital to a city called Byzantium, renaming it Constantinople, now Istanbul. This splits the empire for good. The East becomes the Byzantine Empire, and the West starts slipping. The Western Empire's in trouble. Money's tight, taxes are high, and they rely too much on slaves instead of new ideas. The armies spread thin, and barbarian tribes, like the Visigoths and Vandals, keep raiding. In 410 AD, the Visigoths sack Rome itself. People are stunned. The Eternal City attacked. In 455 AD, the Vandals hit Rome again, looting everything. The empire's crumbling. The end comes in 476 AD. A Germanic leader, Odoacer, kicks out the last Western emperor, a kid named Romulus Augustulus. No big battle, just a quiet takeover. The Western Roman Empire is done, but the East keeps going as the Byzantine Empire. So why did the Western Roman Empire fall? It wasn't one thing, it was a slow crumble. Let's break it down. First, the economy was a wreck. Taxes were sky high to pay for the army, but trade was slowing down. They used tons of slaves, so they didn't invent new tools or machines. The rich got richer, the poor got poorer, and people got angry. Second, the army couldn't keep up. Rome's borders were huge, think Britain to North Africa, and they didn't have enough soldiers. They hired barbarians to fight for them, but these guys weren't always loyal. Third, the government was a mess. Emperors kept getting killed or overthrown, sometimes lasting just months. Corruption was everywhere, and no one trusted the leaders. Then there were the barbarians. Tribes like the Visigoths, Vandals, and Huns saw Rome's weakness. In 410 AD, the Visigoths, led by Alaric, broke into Rome and trashed it. In 455, the Vandals came and looted even more. These attacks showed Rome couldn't defend itself anymore. The final moment hits in 476 AD. Odoacer, a Germanic chief, marches in and tells the last emperor, Romulus Augustulus, just a teenager, to get lost. No one fights back. That's it. The Western Roman Empire's over. The East, though, keeps going strong as the Byzantine Empire for another 1,000 years. What a journey. We have gone from a tiny city founded by a wolf-raised hero to an empire that ruled millions, then watched it fall apart in the West. Rome's story is epic. Kings, republics, emperors, wars, and all. Its legacy? Huge. Roman laws still shape how we govern today. Latin turned into languages like Spanish, French, and Italian. Those roads, aqueducts, and buildings like the Colosseum, they're engineering wonders we still admire. And Christianity, which Rome spread across Europe, became a global force. The Western Empire ended in 476 AD, but the Byzantine East carried on until 1453. Even after it fell, Rome lived on in our culture, our cities, our ideas. It's a reminder that even the mightiest powers can stumble if they stretch too far or forget their people. Thanks for joining me on this trip through Roman history. What do you think? Could Rome's lessons help us today? Let me know in the comments, and if you liked this, hit that like button and subscribe for more stories from the past.